To truly understand the greatness of Machu Picchu, it helps to imagine looking at it from high above. From that view, the vast terraces, temples, and structures come into focus, but what we cannot see is that nearly 60% of this marvel is hidden underground. For more than a century, people believed Machu Picchu was either a royal palace in the clouds, a temple dedicated to the sun, or even a fortress built to protect the Inca from powerful enemies. Those stories became the accepted truth, and Machu Picchu was celebrated as one of the most breathtaking testaments to the Inca civilization. Yet new scientific discoveries have revealed something far older and far more intentional than anyone once thought. Hints of this mystery existed long before modern research. Declassified documents show that even during World War II, Nazi researchers traveled to Machu Picchu, convinced the ruins hid ancient secrets that could unlock forgotten knowledge. They may not have been entirely wrong. Recent evidence suggests Machu Picchu wasn't built randomly on a high ridge. It was constructed there for a very specific reason tied to what lies buried beneath the ground. The story of Machu Picchu's rediscovery begins in 1911, when an American explorer named Hiram Bingham set off on an ambitious expedition into the Peruvian Andes. A Yale professor with a passion for history and adventure, Bingham looked the part of a hero, tall, striking, and obsessed with uncovering the last refuge of the Inca Empire. Historical records described how Inca nobles fled into remote mountains after the Spanish conquest of Cusco in the 16th century. Their final stronghold, known as Vilcabamba, became legendary as the last center of resistance before the Spanish destroyed it in 1572. Armed with funding from Yale University and the National Geographic Society, Bingham set out to track down Vilcabamba. While in Cusco, he heard stories from local farmers about strange stone terraces hidden high above the Urubamba River. These rumors had been dismissed by outsiders as nothing more than folklore, but Bingham followed the clues. Guided by locals, including a young boy from the area, he trekked through dense jungle, steep trails, and cold mountain ridges. The journey was exhausting, and Bingham did not expect to find anything extraordinary that day. His focus remained on Vilcabamba, not on the uncharted ruins before him. But when he finally reached a narrow ridge nearly 2,430 meters above sea level, the jungle opened up, and what he saw left him speechless. Before him stretched towering stone terraces, temples, staircases, and plazas, all crafted with the precision that defined Inca engineering. This was not a scattering of ruins or simple stone huts. It was a complete hidden city in the clouds, untouched for centuries. Even more astonishing than the architecture itself was the location. Machu Picchu clung to a razor-thin ridge between two massive peaks, Machu Picchu Mountain and Huayna Picchu. On either side, cliffs dropped nearly 500 meters to the river below. From the valley floor, the city was invisible. One could stand right beneath it and never realize an entire metropolis rested above. Overwhelmed, Bingham became convinced he had found the legendary lost city of the Incas. Newspapers quickly spread the story worldwide, dubbing it the City in the Clouds. Photos of the site fascinated the public, and people everywhere wondered how the Inca could have built such a grand, complex city without modern tools, and why they would have chosen such a dangerous, inaccessible location. The Incas were known for their remarkable ashlar masonry, a technique in which massive stones were cut so precisely that they fit together without mortar. Yet the question remained, why risk creating a city in such a treacherous spot, far from easy farmland or transport routes? For decades, scholars debated its true purpose. Some argued it was a royal estate, built for Emperor Pachacuti as a luxurious retreat away from the capital of Cusco. Others believed it served as an astronomical observatory, carefully aligned with the sun and stars. Still, none of these explanations fully answered the question of why Machu Picchu was built on this remote ridge. Then, in 2025, researchers uncovered evidence that changed the story entirely. What was found buried beneath the site forced historians to reconsider everything we thought we knew. Machu Picchu, it turns out, was not placed where it is by accident. It was deliberately built atop something far older and far more mysterious. This revelation has left experts stunned, and it may finally explain why this impossible city in the clouds was constructed in such an extraordinary location. The Inca people were deeply connected to the stars, the sun, and the moon. At Machu Picchu, This connection is clear in features like the Intihuatana stone, often called the hitching post of the sun. During solstices, the stone casts shadows that align perfectly with the sun's position, almost as if it were designed to measure time through the heavens. Some temple windows also frame the rising or setting sun on specific days of the year, marking important calendar events. This led many scholars to believe that Machu Picchu may have served as a center for priest astronomers who studied the skies and used this knowledge to guide planting seasons, harvests, and festivals. The idea was convincing, but it raised an important question. If this was truly an observatory, why was it built in such a remote and difficult place to reach? Another theory suggested that Machu Picchu was a religious pilgrimage site. In Inca belief, the natural world itself was sacred. Mountains were seen as living spirits called apis, while rivers were thought to carry divine energy. Machu Picchu's breathtaking setting among towering peaks and flowing waters seemed perfectly aligned with these beliefs. Scholars propose that pilgrims may have traveled to this hidden city to take part in rituals, sacrifices, and ceremonies dedicated to the gods. The presence of temples, fountains, and carefully designed ceremonial spaces supported this view. Still, a problem remained. Pilgrimage sites were usually meant to attract large groups of worshippers, but Machu Picchu was so hidden and difficult to access that it seemed almost designed to keep people away rather than invite them in. There was also the fortress theory. Because of its location, Machu Picchu would have been almost impossible to conquer. The cliffs on either side made invasion nearly suicidal, and the narrow pathways could easily be defended. Some suggested the city might have served as a military outpost or an emergency refuge for Inca leaders. However, this theory lacked strong evidence. No defensive walls, large caches of weapons, or signs of battle have ever been found there. It looked impressive as a fortress, but archaeology did not support the idea. Hiram Bingham, the man who brought Machu Picchu to the world's attention in 1911, had his own theory. When he first discovered the site, he became convinced it was Vilcabamba, the last hidden capital of the Inca resistance against the Spanish. For years, he promoted this idea, and the world accepted it. Only later did further research prove him wrong. The real Vilcabamba was deep in the jungle, and Machu Picchu had actually been abandoned long before the Spanish arrived. But not all theories came from careful academic research. Some ideas were far darker, stranger, and more controversial. When archaeologists studied the burials at Machu Picchu in the early 20th century, they found that many skeletons belonged to young women. This sparked rumors that Machu Picchu was a temple of sacrifice, where chosen women, possibly from the Inca Akla system, in which girls were selected to weave, brew ceremonial drinks, or serve as ritual offerings, were brought to live and die in service to the gods. Later studies showed the remains were more mixed than first thought, but the idea of virgin sacrifices gave the site a grim reputation that never fully disappeared. Another chilling interpretation was the necropolis theory, which suggested Machu Picchu was not meant to be a living city at all, but instead a sacred burial ground. Its location high above the clouds, hidden from the world, and close to the gods made it seem like a perfect place for the dead rather than the living. According to this theory, the temples and plazas were used not for daily life, but for funerary rituals. Some also argued that Machu Picchu was a secret refuge designed to hide survivors of the Inca Empire after the Spanish conquest. Its invisibility from the valley below and its difficult access routes would have made it the perfect hiding place. Yet, once again, evidence stood in the way. The city was deserted long before the Spanish came near the region, which cast serious doubt on this explanation. By the late 20th century, Machu Picchu became a magnet for mystical and occult theories. New Age writers suggested it was part of a global network of ley lines, invisible energy currents believed to flow across the earth. They argued that the Incas had tapped into this power, making Machu Picchu a spiritual energy hub.